If you're in the business of real estate investing, you're likely to be using outside capital. This raises the question of how are you supposed to split the future profits of the project when they come. There are several ways to go about this. There are two major categories of profit distribution mechanisms: fees and dividends. Let's have a look at both. Fees are direct payments to the sponsor in consideration for the accomplishment of some milestone. Examples of these are acquisition, construction management, property or asset management, and exit fees. Acquisition fees, as the name indicates, are earned once the investment vehicle has taken ownership of the asset and compensates the sponsor for all the legwork required in putting together a deal, such as finding the investment opportunity, negotiating with sellers, raising financing, setting up the corporate vehicle, and so on. Construction management fees are earned to the sponsor in consideration for running the construction project. Property or asset management fees are due once the building is up and running and paid in consideration for managing tenants, suppliers, utilities, repairs and maintenance, and the general administration of the property. Exit fees take place once the asset is successfully disposed of. It is customary for exit fees to be success-based, so they are normally tied to the sales proceeds hitting a certain target or the project accomplishing a given return. Fees are paid on a pre-tax basis. If the investment vehicle is subject to corporate tax, the fees paid to the sponsor are on a pre-tax basis, whereas dividends are paid on an after-tax basis. Your investors may be open to shifting part of your compensation to a pre-tax basis so as to reduce the total tax bill on the project. Dividends are paid on an after-tax basis and are therefore subject to your performance as a manager or sponsor. Recall that fees are tied to the accomplishment or certain milestones, but not necessarily to the profit of the project. In contrast, the sponsor's dividend split is totally subject to successfully achieving some predetermined returns. Most profit distribution schemes are based on two ideas: 1, a hurdle, and 2, an incentive for the sponsor. The hurdle is a preferred return that investors must earn before the sponsor is entitled to a profit incentive. This minimum return can be specified in terms of IRR or multiple. The incentive is the profit split the sponsor is entitled to after the investors have earned their hurdle. The sponsor will also be entitled to this preferred return, provided it has contributed equity to the project as well. When all the investors are entitled to a share of the preferred return in proportion to the contributions of the project, this is referred to as pari passu. Once a hurdle has been accomplished and distributed, the remaining profits may be split, say, 50-50 between the sponsors and the investors, or whatever profit split they negotiate. The hurdle, when it's based on IRR, is calculated as a loan, as if it had accrued interest on a compound basis until returns are distributed. Its calculation can become a bit complex, especially if there are several hurdles present, as it is common with institutional investors. For projects with a short-term duration, or when you're looking to simplify calculations, instead of basing the calculation on IRR, the hurdle can be based on a multiple. So if an investor contributes, say, $100,000 to our project, they will be entitled to a first claim on the profits before the sponsor gets its incentive. If the hurdle multiple were 1.12x, the investor would have to get its $100,000 back, plus an additional $12,000 in profits. What is an adequate hurdle? In my opinion, the hurdle should be equivalent to what an investor can expect to earn from passively investing its capital into a fund or a REIT. Any profits of the project in excess of the hurdle is a direct result of the sponsor's effort, and therefore he or she should be entitled to a split on these profits. In practice, however, there is no objective formula upon which profit splits are calculated. In my experience, hurdles and splits are the direct result of the parties' relative negotiating power. The more concentrated the investor pool, the more the sponsors will be pressured into accepting larger hurdles, and the lower their incentives will be. When the sponsor opts for syndicating equity among a very large number of tickets, the process of fundraising can take much longer, but the dispersion of the investor pool will afford the sponsor greater discretion over key decisions such as the profit split agreement. So, what are the advantages of fees on profit splits? For the sponsor, the advantages of fees are clear. Running a real estate business is time consuming and in many cases requires a significant level of support staff. Fees provide a fixed source of income with which to cover these overhead expenses. There is a lot of uncertainty in running a real estate project, and one could argue that the success or failure of a project is not entirely within the control of the sponsor, so its incentive should not be purely based on success. On the other hand, investors will be looking to align the incentives of the sponsor to their own. Profit splits are designed to maximize the efforts of the sponsor in pursuit of the interest of the investors. A fair deal is one that compensates the sponsor for the costs it incurs in managing the project and rewards him or her generously if their project turns out to be a success. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting tutorials on real estate investing and on topics related to starting and managing a real estate investment business. You may also be interested in a course that I created called Professional Real Estate Investing, where we discuss various topics such as how to analyze the market cycle, the relationship between real estate and inflation, storytelling, and we also look at a full case study of an income-producing real estate investment, complete with a working professional financial model. I will post a link to the course in the comments in case you're interested. Thanks for watching.